Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We completed chapter 2, the history of human development. In the history of human development, we saw the 4 stages of intellectual human development, as in the 4 stages of intellectual development. Gazing, superstition, scientific inquiry, and contemplation. Gazing is you see and you don't react to what you see. Superstition is you correlate it wrongly. Scientific inquiry is you try to understand it rightly. Contemplation is intellect probing into the unknown reality. So these are the 4 stages of human development. When we say 4 stages of human development, the 4 stages of intellectual development. Then chapter 3, we are going to start. The plant, the animal, and human. Each and every species has a distinguishing feature. Plants has a distinguishing feature. Animals has a distinct feature. Human being also has a distinct feature. So what is the distinct feature that characterizes a human being is what we are going to study. And not making proper use of that unique feature brings the downfall. If you know how to make proper use of it, you grow. If you do not know how to make proper use of it, that brings your fall. So, chapter 3, the plant, the animal, and human. We'll start with the topic, the 3 species.
Chapter 3, Plant, Animal, and Human. The 3 species. Living creatures fall under 3 broad categories: plant, animal, and human. They differ in their basic constitution. The plant has only a body. It has no mind to feel emotions or intellect to think, contemplate upon thoughts. Whereas the animal has a body and mind but no intellect. Animals have likes and dislikes, feelings which is seen clearly in their relationship with their offsprings and other creatures. The intellect is absent in them, though certain animals display a rudimentary gross intellect, like a dog distinguishing between its master and a stranger. But all animals are denied the subtle intellect. None of them can conceive God, anything transcending the terrestrial world. Whereas humans possess a body, mind, and both the gross intellect and subtle intellect. A human being alone is blessed with the subtle intellect which can entertain the thought of the transcendental God. Even the atheist uses his subtle intellect to deny the existence of God. Humanity seeks peace and progress in life. To attain that, a human is equipped with the intellect. He must develop and use his intellect to control and direct his impulses and emotions, his perception and actions towards peace and progress. He cannot afford to let his mind's impulses directly take over his activities. His intellect must reason, judge the impulses, and decide the course of perception and action, failing which he would meet with deep trouble. The dramatist William Shakespeare has highlighted the grave blunder of humanity in acting impulsively without the guidance of the intellect. His tragedies, like King Lear, Othello, Hamlet, have shown how impulsive actions have proved detrimental, fatal. The plays ending with misery and death. Above all, a human alone is endowed with the unique faculty of using his subtle intellect to cross over the mire of ignorance and attain self realization, gain spiritual enlightenment. But the sad plight of the world today is that people are unaware of the great faculty in them, and none really puts in the effort to reach that exalted state.
So the three species, the plant, the animal, and the human. Don't get too technical into this understanding of plant and animal and all that. Just understand it in it's a very broad observation that he's making. That's all. You say no, plant also has feelings, sir. Science has proved plant also has feelings. We are not getting into that. What is observed here is a plant has no feelings because it doesn't respond back in the way that you understand. Plant has a body, no feelings, no mind, no intellect. Animals have body, mind, because they exhibit emotions. They receive emotions and they give emotions. So in that sense, there is mind, but no intellect. No intellect in the sense what the lion was doing 5,000 years back is what it's doing even today. 5,000 years later also, if it will do the same thing. It will not change. Even though it has a mind, the function of the mind is also very, very limited. When we say the function of the mind is very limited, no animal will complain of boredom. No lion will say, I am bored today, therefore I am hunting. If it is hungry, it will hunt. If it is not hungry, it will stay quiet. It will not say, I am bored, I am losing my skill of hunting, therefore let me practice hunting today. Animals don't. It means they have a body. Their mind is the function of the mind is also very, very limited. Literally, there is no intellect at all. Even though we see stray cases of some basic intellectual function they see. One of the persons asked, sir, but we have seen gorillas writing, parrots talking. What, parrot is having a conversation or what? Parrots don't talk. At least you know that. No, they don't talk. They exhibit some feelings. They exhibit. That's all. Not zebras. Gorillas, right? Every species for their survival they'll do something, but no intellect, no intellect at all. Because of no intellect at all, the gross and subtle both are absent. So when we say intellect, when we say intellect, we talk about it in terms of both gross and subtle. So first thing, plants only body. Animals, emotions, but that also very, very limited, restricted emotions. Intellect practically not at all there. We are not really interested in Vedanta. We are not really interested in discussing about plant and animal. We only say those two are also there, but that's not our subject matter of inquiry. What is our subject matter of inquiry? The human being is our the human being is our inquiry. So straight away we go into the human being. A body, a mind, and the intellect. Intellect as in gross and subtle. So a human being alone is blessed with the body, mind, and intellect. Body is common because each and every species has a unique body. The body of a lion is unique. The body of the tiger is unique. The body of the zebra is unique. Each and every animal, the body wise, there is a uniqueness. Emotion wise, there are certain limitations. In the case of a human being, emotion wise, you can see the complete variety. Complete variety as in the human being can laugh and the human being cries. No other species will laugh and they will cry also. At least this much we understand, no? They don't laugh, but hyenas laugh, sir. Hyenas do. No animal can laugh. That's how they are, isn't it? So emotions are very restricted and limited. Human beings' case, the uniqueness of the body is not the distinguishing feature because all species have a unique physical body. So body-wise, we can't say human is different. Mind-wise, we say human being is different. Intellect-wise, we say human being is different. Therefore, the distinguishing feature of the human being is the mind and intellect. The full function of the mind and the complete function of the intellect distinguishes human beings from the other species, though other species also have rudimentary emotions, this, etc., all that. See, plants also have survival things. It's not emotion, it is just survival. They say when giraffe is eating, it will start with the first tree. As soon as the giraffe is starting eating that first tree, the leaves will send signals to the other trees. And when the trees send signals to the other trees, and when this giraffe goes to the second tree, third tree, it will not be that tasty. It will leave and go. It's sheer survival instinct, that's all. You can't say this tree is sacrificing itself for the other trees. Will you say that? You can write a poetry and we can imagine like that. But reality is, it is just sheer survival. So all other species survives. Human beings has the function of the mind and intellect which is distinct and different. What is the mind? Emotions, impulses is the mind. And what is the intellect? Thinking, reasoning is the intellect. Other species has emotions, but they are not a victim of emotions. A human being has emotions and a victim of emotions. Again, all species has emotions, but no species is a victim of their emotion. Human being has emotion and human being alone becomes a victim of the emotion. 2, not to be victimized by the emotion, the divine grace is the intellect. If the divine grace of intellect isn't there, actually there is no problem at all. We all will reconcile to suffer and will be simply be suffering. No, because there's no solution out. No. But the divine grace is such that there is this intellect, and that intellect is designed to guide the mind, impulses, and actions. So what is the role of the intellect? The role of the intellect is to guide the mind's emotions, impulses, and actions. Gross intellect in relation to peace and progress, subtle intellect in relation to Brahman, the supreme reality. Even if this Brahman, supreme reality, is a far-fetched thing, at least at the worldly level, managing the emotions itself is a big relief. The worldly level, if you can manage the impulses, at the worldly level, if you can manage the desperation, that's all. Emotion means, what is an emotion? It is sheer desperation, that's all. And you can get desperate about anything, you can get desperate. So intellect is to handle the desperation, that's all. Mind will get desperate. When we say mind will get desperate, you should understand, unguided, pampered mind gets desperate. It's not the nature of the mind to get desperate. Mind has emotions. It is the untrained mind, it is the untrained, ungoverned, undisciplined mind that develops the vega, and that momentum turns into desperation. You're able to follow? So desperation is not natural. Desperation is because of not being disciplined. Therefore, gross intellect does a function, subtle intellect does another function. What is the function of the gross intellect? To guide the mind and actions. To guide the mind and actions. Guiding the mind and actions towards what? Something in relation to the present, something in relation to the future. Peace in relation to the present, progress in relation to the future. That's why he says humanity seeks peace and progress. So when we say peace and progress, something in relation to the present, something in relation to the future. Always there will be a dilemma. What is a dilemma? Will you sacrifice the present for the future, or sacrifice the future for the present? Always this is the human being's problem. The human being's problem, again I repeat, the human being's problem is sacrifice the present for the future, or sacrifice the future for the present. So it means eda onnuda, isn't it? It means what? If you choose this, you will lose the. So invariably people think that future, sir. Yeah, sacrifice the present because future is more important. And God only knows what that future is, but human being believes future is important. Yeah, future is very important. God only knows what that better future is. So as a result of which, what happens? The peace and the progress. So gross intellect function is in relation to the present and future. Subtle intellect function is in relation to the permanent. So understand it like that. The present, the future, and the permanent. Gross intellect in relation to the present and future. Subtle intellect in relation to the permanent. Just using another word to make it cross intellect, subtle intellect. So just say past and the. What about the past? There's nothing to talk about there's no need to talk about the past at all. Not that we are ignoring the past, not that we want to disconnect from the past. There's nothing to talk about it because it's already done and over. Therefore, it is in relation to the present, the future, and the permanent. Subtle intellect says focus on the permanent. Even if you are not matured enough to worry about the permanent and all. Because today's problem itself is so much. Where will I worry about? Where is the time to sit and worry about the permanent and all? When the next half an hour itself looks like, the next 1 hour, the next few weeks itself is looking like Janmas. Where is the time to worry about permanent and all? Therefore, temporarily, subtle intellect is shelved. We will discuss a lot about gross intellect. So what we'll be discussing is temporarily subtle intellect will be shelved and it will be picked up at the end of the book. Again in indications only. So we will be dealing with the gross intellect function a lot. And when we say the fall of the human intellect, we talk about the fall of both the intellect. It is both the gross and the subtle. So what he says here, one must develop and use the intellect to control and direct the impulses and emotions, perceptions and actions towards peace and progress. Mind will retard peace, mind will retard progress, because mind is worried about what? Mind is worried about instant. Everything should happen. Mind means instant. I have been disciplined for 10 days, sir. I have been disciplined for 10 days. I have been indisciplined for hundreds of janmas indiscipline. 10 days I have 10 days I lived a disciplined life. Nothing is happening. What will happen here? Because we are not even understood the word discipline. Follow? Because mind means instantaneous. Mind means it has to happen now. Anything and everything should happen instant, what we call as instant gratification. This instant wanting things instantaneously is what makes the emotions, impulses powerful. So what does intellect come? So what is the function of the intellect? That's why starting point of intellect itself is very painful. What is the starting point of the intellect? It says, wait. Don't look for instant, wait. I will wait, sir. Half a day, half an hour, I'll wait. Half a day, I'll wait. Isn't it? Three months, sir, nothing is happening. So what in 3 months? Nothing will happen in. What will happen in? Nothing will happen in 3 months. But the emotions are driven by the basic feature of the mind, where it wants everything to happen. Everything to happen instantaneously. Now, everything should happen now. The intellect comes and says, in life, nothing happens instantaneously. Or you can make it happen. Mind, that's what we're going to discuss in the poem Pond. The mind will hijack the intellect and make things to happen instantly. It makes it to happen. Disappears as fast as it appears, and the consequences of that is so disastrous. That's what we are going to read. The poem Pond. I think it's in the same lesson. It's coming. Is it there in the same lesson or next lesson? I'm not sure. Same lesson. Yeah. The poem Pond. Because it is so, because of the instantaneous nature of wanting things to happen. So intellect comes and says, wait. Mind cannot wait. Wait means it will ask, how long? Eவ்வளோ நேரம் சார் வெயிட் பண்றது? Even the phone can't ring fully, isn't it? Second ring, third ring, only the agitation starts. Pick up. Wait, let it ring. There's no need, just because you are calling, there's no need for the other person to pick up. If you are calling, that's your privilege. It is other person's privilege to pick up or not, answer or not, correct? Yes or no? Very simple. But the mind cannot. Every aspect of life, it has to happen now. In order to make things happen now, it turns blind to the realities. So intellect is that which educates the mind on the realities. In order to making things happen instantaneously, it turns blind to the realities. All what you call as advancement is nothing but wanting to make things happen instantaneously. All that we call a scientific advancement is what? Things should happen fast, isn't it? Efficiency means, what do you know? Efficient person means fast. Even my sentences are very slow, isn't it? No, I don't speak fast also. And I don't know how people can even sit and listen to my speed, because I am falling off to sleep listening to my speed. Even here. Because there is this, that wanting to do things in a hurry, instantaneous. If the intellect doesn't take care, it will be a tragedy. Life is a tragedy because wherever you see anybody's life in tragedy, only one reason. What? Emotions are taken over. But people will not accept that. They will say, my life is a tragedy because of not my emotion, because of others' emotion. அப்படிலாம் கிடையாது. எவ்வளவு வருஷம் வந்து திருப்பி கேட்டாலும் கொஸ்டின் ஆன்சர் ஒண்ணுதான். சரியா? So every few years he'll come and ask the same question. Different words he will ask. That's all. Answer is only one. No problem. Correct? Purpose solved for today. The mind gets so, it turns that emotional. Intellect comes and says, wait. You are running at a speed. Do you know where you are going to get hit? Mind says, I don't care. I will run. Hit and all I will see later. And when that hit happens, I'll come and ask, I want to get out of that also instantly. I run so fast and get into trouble. and I want to get out of the trouble also. Running in this, getting into problem is instantaneous. Getting out of it also instantaneous. That's why nowadays patience and all is not a virtue anymore. Patience and all is seen as a, a stumbling block for your growth, because you should be, I don't know what people should do. The dramatist William Shakespeare says, life becomes a tragedy. So work backwards. Wherever there is a tragedy, what is the reason for the tragedy? Emotions. Emotions took over. Are you able to follow? Please understand, whenever we say emotions takes over means negative emotions. There is no positive emotion at all. Again, I repeat, wherever we talk about emotions taking over and becoming a disaster, it only means negative emotions. Because positive emotions require a lot of discipline and training. It doesn't come naturally. Again, I repeat, positive emotions and all doesn't come naturally. Positive emotions comes very naturally in words, in writing, not in action, not in feeling. For example, okay, take this. How many great poems have been written on this love? And everybody, all human being falls in love. And when they fall in love, they always think that their love is unique, different, best, where nobody else would have loved this much. The way that if the 8 billion today, now we don't know how many people have died in the past. All of them had the same thing. Even today, people have the thing. Movies and movies are made out of this love. Epics are made out of this love, and yet there is no such thing called love at all. It means what? All the positive emotions are good in writing. When it comes to a human being having it, it's not at all. So it means whenever we talk about emotions, impulses, and falling and all that, what is implied here? The negative emotions only. The negative emotions as in attachment, fear, greed, jealousy, hatred, etc. Whatever the list of negative emotions we give, life becomes a tragedy. Tragedy means not realizing the potential is the tragedy. If you have a potential and don't realize it, then only it can be called as a tragedy. If you don't have the potential at all, there is no such thing called tragedy. Will you ever say lions have wasted their life? Will you say that? Will you say all animals in the jungles are wasting their life? Why? Because the potential itself isn't there. So wherever there is a potential, and if that potential is not made proper use of, then only it's a tragedy. So we say human life alone is a tragedy because of the potential. What is the potential? The potential of the peace and progress at the ultimate level, spiritual enlightenment. But the sad plight of the world today is that people are unaware of the great faculty in them, and none really puts in the effort to reach that exalted state of the self-realization we are talking about. We are talking about the exalted state of self-realization. Even relatively speaking, it doesn't. Even relatively speaking, also gross intellect isn't functioning. Intellect must reason, assess the impulses, and decide the course of perception and action. Some assessment has to be made. That's why we give each and every class, we give one method for assessment. One method for assessment we keep giving. One method of assessment is package. All that you encounter in life comes to you as a package. Package means, yes, something in it you will like, something in it you will not like. That's why it's called a package. There can never be something which you can wholly like or wholly dislike. It's always a package. Something in it you will like, something in it you will not like. So assessment is what is the package. Assessment means what is the package. Assessment means what are the consequences. So first thing is the package. The second thing is the consequences. We can never know the consequences. It is always the higher intellect that tells us the consequences. Again, I repeat, you can never know the consequences by yourself. That's where the problem of education also is. Since you can never know by yourself, if somebody tells you also, the mind will not listen, mind will not accept. Mind will say, no, sir, you don't know what you are saying. You don't know what you are saying. You follow? So, one is the package, another is the, so intellect, when we say the intellect must reason, assess the impulses, judge the impulses, and decide the course of perception and action means, yes, having known that there is this package, am I okay with the package? In that package, can I modify? Problem starts there only. Problem starts when you want to convert the package. Package na அது அப்படியே ஒத்துக்கிட்டாதான் அதுக்கு பேர் package. If I want to customize it na, then it means you are not willing to accept the package. Emotions will not allow you to accept the package. Emotions will say, change it. Change it to suit me. Change the package to suit me. How long can you change? What all will you change? You don't know. Why? Because mind doesn't know what it wants to change. That's why even if the other person changes 100% also, still the dissatisfaction will remain the same only. Why? Because the mind and its impulses by nature is just so ignorant, doesn't know what it wants. So package la I understand this package, but if they change the 2-3 things, life will be smooth. No, the 2-3 things the package, isn't it? Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, the 2-3 things only. Father, no wonder. The 2-3 things the package. Adu maarithina, then the package itself is changed. Where the emotions are so difficult is when it is so convinced that the other should change, it is so convinced that I am right, I need not change. Or even this is all right. Anshu, learn Tamil. Huh? Deepika, learn Tamil, please. So difficult. You know, sir, how much I have changed for the other person? You know how much I have accommodated the other? How much I have changed for the nothing is done. But the mind believes that it has done. How much I have changed for the other, how much I have accommodated the other. Other doesn't even what to do with that person, sir. What to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Emotions make what you don't understand is this. Your emotions keeps you in misery, nobody else. Your indiscipline keeps you alone in misery. Nobody else will be in misery because others, at some point of time, others will disconnect and go. Who is going to remain in misery? Your indiscipline and your impulsive nature is going to keep you in misery. So first is they will not accept the package. Second is they will say, even if they accept the package, they will say, I have changed. I have changed so much for the other, and the other didn't change at all. If you have really changed, this problem won't happen. Or if the problem is happening means you didn't change, or a small thing here, a small thing there, which I will do even for a stranger, I would have done, and my mind will exaggerate it. Are you able to follow? The small things I would have done, which I would have done even for any stranger, I would have done that. Same thing, but the mind will tend to. So package assessing means assessing the package, the consequences. Are you okay till now? The real complication comes is you have to understand your package. Vedantas were worried about that only. Are able to all along till now we spoke about package means other. Other is used as an example to say there is this thing called a package. Now that you have understood there is this thing called a package, immediately forget the other. And where you should focus on is what is your package? When you understand your package, you cannot tolerate. Your own, you can't tolerate your package, then you will be very sympathetic even if somebody says good morning to you. Vijay, purida? Because you know your package. You yourself can't tolerate your package. And somebody smiles at you and say good morning to you, what you should do? Sastang pranams to that person we have to. Because how is he able, that which I am not able to accept in myself, the other is doing, Are you able to follow? This is how intellect checks the mind's emotions and impulses. So even though we talk about assessing the other, assessment of the other, package consequences and all that, that is only to explain there is this thing called package. Once you have understood that, immediately shift the attention to yourself. What is shifting the attention to yourself means? Silambarasan is a package, isn't it? To whom he is a package? To him, to oneself first. Wife la apparandampa. Yeah. Wife la apparanda. To yourself, you are a package. You understand that package in you, that itself is a very big improvement in the function of the intellect. That itself is a function of the intellect. Then you know what to do, what not. Are able to follow? Once you have done this work within yourself, it will be easy to understand and relate to the other. If you have not done this work within yourself, even if Gautam Buddha were to sit in front of you, Lord Krishna were to be in front of you, you will still have the same problem. You have a problem with Gautam Buddha also, no? It is Gautam Buddha or Krishna also will have the same. Therefore, the function of the intellect. Gross intellect is in understanding emotions and the impulses, actions. Subtle intellect in relation to the supreme reality. How the species function. Next topic. Yes. Anshu.
How the species function. The plant kingdom ranges from banyan trees to creepers, flower beds to weeds. They have distinct character. They merely exist in the world at large, exhibiting their nature, with no voluntary reaction to the world, no eyes to gaze at the environment around. Animals have a built in program to live their lives. They cannot tamper with their natural constitution. A tiger cannot be a vegetarian, nor a cow flesh eater. Eating habits apart, the behavioral pattern of each species of animals is clearly defined by their basic nature, vasanas. The vasanas of a species determine their temperament, disposition, character, which projects their particular mode of living. The creatures of each species are constituted of the same vasanas. They possess a collective nature. They function much the same way in accordance with their vasanas. All lions are ferocious. There can be no lion meek and mild. So are all deer soft and tender, and there can be no deer ferocious. The human species stands out distinct and different from all other creatures. The nature of each human being is singular. Each one is constituted of his individualistic nature, vasanas. No two humans possess the same vasanas. Consequently, each one expresses his or her behavioral pattern. Hence, human beings have to be treated individually, not collectively, as in the case of other creatures. The behavioral pattern of animals follow their own nature. They have no choice to live apart from it, but humans are free to choose their course of life. All through life, you are faced with the dilemma of choice to get into business or profession, to marry or not to marry, to be a vegetarian or non vegetarian, etc. The problem lies not so much in making a choice, but on what basis you make it. That requires a study of the forces that propel human action.
How the species function. All species functions on collective nature. Human being functions on individual nature. That's a fundamental difference. Again, all species lives on collective nature. Human being lives on individual nature. By collective nature, what is meant is all member of the species will be doing the same activity. Again, I repeat. Collective nature means all members of that species will be doing the same activity without any exception. That's why it's called collective nature. In the case of a human being, how the human species function, the human species function based on individual nature. Second paragraph, underline that. The vasanas of a species determine their temperament, disposition, character, which projects their particular mode of living. You can't make vasanas more easier than that. You can't define vasanas much more easier than this. He says the vasanas of a species determine the temperament, disposition, character. This in human beings will vary individually. In other species, it will be collective. Are you able to follow? Example, all lions are ferocious. Not a single lion can talk about ahimsa in that sense. In that sense, ferocious means why are we causing himsa? Why can't we be ahimsa? At least on Ekadashi, why not? All lions are ferocious. Similarly, all deer is soft and tender. But human beings don't have a collective nature. That's why human beings are a bit complicated things to deal with. Assessment is very easy if there is a collective nature. Assessment is difficult because of individual nature. Are you able to follow the difficulty? Where there is a collective nature, assessment is very easy because you know that other options don't exist at all. In the case of a human being, being individual nature, you will never know. You can live with the person for 50, 60 years and still you can't say, I know this person fully. You can't say that. Why? Because of the individual nature. Suddenly from somewhere it comes from. Sir. All along they have been hiding it and suddenly it is revealing individual nature. Are you able to follow? That is why the function of the intellect is very relevant only for dealing with fellow human beings. For other species, it's very easy. Why? Collective nature, you know one lion, you know all lions. You know one cobra, you know all cobras. You know one human being, you can never know the next person. Why? Because that is different. Human species stands out distinct and different because the nature of each human being is singular. Singular means same environment, same father, same mother, same household, same school, everything remains the same. Two siblings are not the same. They are not the same. What is the difference due to individualistic nature? It means you have to deal with human beings never collectively. You can only deal with human beings individually. The beauty is because of the individual nature. It's so wonderful to deal with the individual natures. There is something so wonderful in that. There is something so beautiful in that unique individual nature of everybody. If you have developed an intellect, if not, it is a problem. Why? That individual nature also never expresses itself in behavior. Sometimes it will express in behavior, sometimes it will express in word, sometimes it will express in action. And when it is happening in the thought, you won't even you won't even know about it. Therefore, number one, the individual nature. Number two, you have no tools to assess. And the only tool that you have to assess the other is their action. The only tool that you have to assess the other is their action. And that's the most inferior tool. We have no other tool, and yet that is the most inferior tool. Why? Because one may smile and smile and smile and yet be a villain. Person is smiling and smiling and smiling. Looks like the best friend, and that person is going to stab you at the back. Somebody is willing to sacrifice their life, but you think that fellow is going to stab you at the back. Because of the individual nature, very difficult to know who the benefactor is. It is very difficult to know who the malefactor is. Therefore, what is the difference? Human beings have to be treated individually, not collectively. And when we talk about human beings here, we are not talking about the body of the human being. We are talking about the mind and intellect. The mind and intellect. And what is the mind and intellect made up of? Temperament, disposition, character, which is known as, the technical name for that is called vasana. Because of this pattern, we come to a very great conclusion, a very great grand conclusion. Because of the collective nature, the other species don't have a choice. Because of the individualistic nature, there is a choice. Therefore, we conclude that how species function, all other species functions choicelessly. Human beings alone function through choice. Meaning, all other species, they don't have a choice to act apart from their nature. In fact, in most of the other species, the body determines the nature. There is no separate individual nature, vasana and all. What the body is becomes their nature. In the case of a human being, it is the mind and the intellect, the vasanas. Therefore, he says, the human beings are free to choose their course of life. Which school to go, which school not to go, which course to take, which course not to take, which job to take, which job not to take. Should I do business or job? Should I marry or not marry? Do I have children or no children? Each and every stage in life, you are always faced with the two directions. Always there is a fork in front. And the very fork in front is the dilemma. Which one to choose? Mind, because of the emotions and impulses, will make a blind choice. The mind, because of the emotion and impulses, will be so blinded in making a choice. And because of that blinding nature of the emotions that is guiding the choice, what is the consequences of that? We already saw that. Misery, pain, sorrow, all that we saw. And what is the other way? The other way is, there is this fork always. It's not one path. There is always two. When we say two opposites. It's not one leading to the other. Two opposites. It means you do one, you cannot do the marry or not to marry. And remember this, we are going to discuss all that later. Whatsoever choice you make, you will regret that you didn't do the other. Some choice you will make. Doesn't matter. Some choice you will make, and you will always end up regretting the other that you didn't make. Therefore, what happens? Halfway through, I will jump to that. Having jumped into the other halfway through, I realize that's not it. Again, I want to jump back. This is the insanity of human being. This is the insane nature of human being. Why? Because the dilemma. Dilemma implies two. Two means two opposite roads. Kathopanishad puts it very beautifully. It's called Shreya Priya. The path of Priyam and the path of Shreyas. Both are opposite in nature, Nachiketas. That's a dilemma. There is the path of Priyam and then there is the path of Shreyas. Mind says Priyam. Priyamna இப்போ முடிக்கணும் அவ்வளவுதான். பிரியம்னா இப்போ நல்லா இருக்கணும். Instantly it has to be gratified instantly. So that is the path of the Priyam, and then there is the path of Shreyas. Those who take to the path of Priyam, Nachiketas, I will be a very frequent visitor. Yama says, if you choose the path of Priyam, who will be your visitor? Very frequent visitor. Yama. அப்போ அழுதெல்லாம் பிரயோஜனமே கிடையாது. Because having made the choice, you have invited him. There is another path, he says, Shreyas. So it means that's the dilemma. From there, the dilemma starts. Boils down to the list of everyday list. What is the everyday list? What to cook? What not to cook? That's a big dilemma, isn't it? I know this dilemma only when they ask me what to cook for today, and I'll get very confused. I'll sit and think. I'll say, no. Finally, the answer is whatever is there, I'll eat. What to cook? What to say? From there, the dilemma starts. What to cook? What not to cook? What time to eat? What time not? Each and everything is the thumb rule. You should remember the thumb rule. What is the thumb rule? Priyam, Shreyas. There is always these two paths. That's the dilemma of choice. The dilemma of choice always is about these two paths. Beautiful is this dilemma. Thank God this dilemma is there. You can resolve it and you can grow. Otherwise, there is no choice. Like collective nature. Otherwise, you are a trap of the. You are trapped. You are trapped by that nature. Only a human being is not trapped by that nature. Again, I repeat. All other species are trapped by that nature of theirs. They can't do anything distinct and different. And anything that comes in association with a human being will take the flavor of human being, isn't it? Yeah, anything that comes in contact with human being will take all the suffering of somebody introduced themselves as pet counselor. I thought of you only, Meera. What an association. Counseling for pet. Because they go into depression. Obviously they go into depression. And when they go into depression, you need to get them out of. First, you have to make them depressed. Yeah. If you have just left them alone, nothing would have happened, isn't it? Yeah. How many sessions? No, my pet has to go for eight therapy sessions. What they will? What do you do? They'll talk to the dog. I am there for you. You are not. Huh? You are not alone. Trained. She's saying exactly. Maybe she's also doing the same profession. Parna, என்னத்துக்கு அதெல்லாம் விட்டுருங்க. I am there for you. Why? Because they are sitting in depression. Correct. If you sit with the human being, because in the forest they don't get depressed. No. See, if they can get into depression, the worst place is the forest. See, at least with a human being, food is guaranteed, security is guaranteed. There's no need for, they should be happy with the human being only. In the forest only, they should be depressed. But in the forest, they don't get into depression at all. Manshal kitta vanda odane enna the first thing. And then they have to be taken for counseling. I don't know what they will talk. They said, sir, do you want to come? I said, no. I can't see human being getting counseled only in the first place. To see a cat getting. Supposing if we have cobra in the house, I don't know what they will. Because people have pets. No, so many things they have. Anything in life you can. Suppose you have a tortoise as a pet, what will you do? Anyway. So other species are trapped into their nature. They are trapped. They have no freedom at all. A human being alone has the choice. What is the choice? The choice of the dilemma of choice, which we'll be studying next week. And what does the dilemma of choice means? The two paths. The path of Priyam and the path of Shreyas. Nachiketas, there are these two paths, he says. The consequences of the path is different. The result is different. Who will choose what? That is also different. So, assessment of other species is very easy because they have only one nature and they don't exhibit any other nature. In relation to a human being, assessment is very difficult because of the individual nature, the individual vasana, and the individual vasana that can be concealed. Other species don't conceal their nature. Human beings alone can conceal. Other species cannot pretend. Human beings can pretend. All this is because of emotions, and you need a intellect to deal with these things. With this, we conclude for today, and we'll continue with the dilemma of choice. One second. Yes, Aparna. Yes.
I need to understand that the relationship to an object.
Yes.
Not to a human being. I understand likes and dislikes.
Yes.
Human being, what is consequence?
Yeah. The question that Aparna is asking is in relation to the assessment. We spoke about two factors: package and consequences. Her clarifications regarding the consequences. When I'm interacting with another human being, how do I understand the consequence? Consequence means the result of the action. Again, I repeat, consequence means the result of the action. So interaction with the other is an action. Supposing I'm being affectionate to some, It's an action. So when I'm affectionate to some extent, I should know what is going to be the consequences of me showing the affection to this person. Similarly, angry also. All emotions. I'm just taking love as an example. So when I'm loving someone, there is going to be a consequence to that. What are the consequences? Some will exploit. Some will exploit. Some will be grateful. Some in tamasic nature won't even know that you are showing affection to them. You follow what I'm saying? People are so gross that they can't even recognize that they are being showered with affection. Some will immediately want to exploit it. Some will immediately want to exploit it because they are waiting for something, and when they see it, they want to grab it. So some will want to exploit it. Somebody will be grateful to it. So consequence means affection being the same, different human beings will respond differently. So how they will respond is the consequence. How they will respond is the consequence, and I need to have some fair knowledge of how they are going to respond. Otherwise, if I am not understanding this, I will be shocked. I will be surprised. Because wherever I show affection, I will want a few things to happen, and I will never want a few things not to happen. I will never want to get exploited. I would always want appreciation. I will always want to be reciprocated. Supposing the person is a stone, what do I do? It will not reciprocate. Therefore, assessment consequences means distinct responses will come, and I'm already accounted for all the responses that is going to come, as a result of which I don't feel shocked, surprised, or cheated. Otherwise, I always feel shocked, surprised, cheated. Is it okay, Aparna? Huh? Yeah. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with the dilemma of choice.